Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to talk about the Wheel of Fate, which is one of the latest functionality that's been added to the game. Now, it took me a while to get this video out purely because I had to wait for the event, to get to redeem a resource, to actually upgrade the Wheel of Fate, etc., to actually test out the functionality properly before I actually talk about it. Now I have done a few tests and I think I know how this works. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about exactly how this whole new functionality actually works, what kind of resources you need, and what are the actual effects it's going to have. Now, I will make a separate video in the future actually going through every single night's Wheel of Fate. Now, that will be super long, so I may even break it down into a couple of different videos just so that I can go through every single character that is in the game right now. So watch out for that video. It will take a long time before I actually release them and actually cover off tonight. But just watch out for it. I will definitely talk about it in the future. But like I said, in today's video, I'm purely going to talk about the functionality and what does the actual effect mean, etc. Now, basically what happens is for every single character, you have a character in the middle, and then you have certain characters surrounding it, which are basically kind of the links that you can have. Now, if you click onto any one of them, what you will be able to see is that you can see, for example, here, I have a link with Mermaid Tetris and Poseidon. Mermaid Tetris is in the middle. And what you can see is that you have two set of effects. One is some bonus. From what I have seen, this is always HP attack and defense. So it's pretty boring, but it's always there. And then the second thing is the power fate effect. Now, a couple of things. So first of all, the link is made between Mermaid Tetris, who's at the center of the Wheel of Fate, and Poseidon, who's at the outer boundary. Now, if you actually look at first of all, the bonus effects, all of those stats effects, they will take place regardless who is in your team. So if you just have Mermaid Tetris in your team, she will get this. If you just have Poseidon in the team, he will also get it. However, people who are the knights, which are on the outer side of Wheel of Fate, will only get half of the bonus. So let's say at the max level is 8%. If you put just Poseidon by himself, he will only get 4%. If you put Mermaid Tetris just by herself, she will get 8%. If you put both of them together in your team, Mermaid Tetris will still only get 8%, and Poseidon will still get only 4%. So that's kind of how all of the stats bonus works. Power Fate effect, however, is different. First of all, it would not activate unless both of the characters are on the field at the same time. And second of all, I have actually tested this because this is one thing that I wasn't really sure. But from my testing, I can conclude that the Power Fate is going to be active on both characters and no one else outside of those two. So what that basically means is that if I just have Mermaid Tetris on my field, she is not going to get any of those effects. If I just have Poseidon on the field, he's not going to get any of those effects. If I have Mermaid Tetris and Poseidon on the field, both of them will get 300 Cosmo at the beginning of the battle, or up to 1,000 Cosmo at the beginning of the battle. But the other three people on your team are not going to get that. Now, I tested this because this one is actually one of the easier ones to test with Mermaid Tetris and Poseidon. You can see very clearly Poseidon is going to start off with a tiny bit of extra Cosmo in comparison to if you just play Poseidon without Mermaid Tetris. So that's basically how it works. Now, this is a link between just two characters, just Poseidon and Mermaid Tetris. Now, if I take another example, which is if I actually take it with what is it? Sagittarius Seiya, who actually have a link with the big five. So, Virgoshun, Iki, Shura, and Hyuga. You can see the effect here is that all knights gain an extra 600 Cosmo. So this is the case because you have all five characters and all five are on your team at the same time. They are going to get 600 Cosmo all at once as well. So this is actually really nice. Obviously, you can already kind of see some of the stats bonus and in terms of the skills, etc. The stats bonus seems to be always the same. It's HP, defense, and attack again. It's 8%, even though this is a link between five characters. So, the bonus pretty much never changed. The stats bonus pretty much never changed. However, you can kind of get that some of the power of fate effect are slightly different between different pairings. So clearly, this one is a lot better than Mermaid Tetris Poseidon's one, because that one you only get 300 extra Cosmo, where this one at the first level you get 600 Cosmo, and this is for all five. The other one's only for all two, for both of them. Now, one tricky thing about this, which is one thing I'm not too sure about Will of Fate, is that somehow, depending on what some of the Power Fate effect is, it may actually bundle up certain knights together, and that can be both a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing is obviously, for example, if I really want this effect, I am forced to play all five of these knights together, so it kind of gets rid of kind of the team building aspect of this game, which is one thing I really like, especially if you like that kind of strategy kind of thing. So this is one thing I don't like. However, at the same time, it also does mean certain characters which previously may not be played much actually now do have a chance to be played purely because they may have a really strong power fate effect, etc. But that's kind of the good thing about this. So I have a bit mixed feeling about this. It can go well, it can go the other way, depending on whether you kind of like this forced team building kind of thing. But at the same time, I guess it kind of make the team building slightly easier as well, because if you do have one character that you really want to build a team around, you can take a look first of all at the Wheel of Fate to see whether the other characters on the Wheel of Fate have good synergy, whether that extra effect is something you really want, and then you can build a team from there. So that's kind of what this functionality is all about. Like I said, in today's video, I am purely only talking about all of this functionality and how it works. In one of the future video, I think what I will do is I will actually go through every single character. I'll probably just do it in this order. I'll just go from the very beginning, and then just go through every single one of them, talk about all of the additional skills, and see whether it's actually worth for you to level up or not, and how do you actually prioritize which ones do you want to use. Another thing which is quite interesting to know here is that, for example, if you actually look at Poseidon, Poseidon had a link with Mermaid, but you don't actually see the same link here anymore, which basically shows that just because one character have another character on his power of fate or will of fate does not mean the reverse work as well. The only one I think I find that it actually works both ways, I believe, is Saga Light and one other character Saga Light is linked to. I think it's Seiya and Cannon. So Seiya and Cannon and Saga Light have a link on Saga Light's will. And if I go into Sea Dragon Cannon's will, you can see there's also a link with Saga Light as well. So this, I think, is the only link I found which kind of works in both ways, and it actually have different effects in both directions as well. So for example, this one with Saga Light, what you see is when it's in a negative state, you immediately get 300 Cosmo, which is meh. It works for Sea Cannon, but not really for Saga Light. But then if you actually look at Saga Light with Seiya and Cannon's one, you get a totally different effect. Right? This one now is after the first release of skill, you gain 7% extra attack. So you see it's totally different. So once again, it adds that bit extra functionality in terms of team building.